DayZ, we're doing another tips and tricks. This one is updated for today, so some elements might change over time. And it has been a while since I've done one, so I figured now was a good opportunity to kind of show off elements of the game. So some of this might seem a little bit basic, but this is to help players understand the controls and everything like that. So first off, yeah, we're on Xbox One X, so that's kind of what the gameplay is representative of. The controls are the same for PlayStation, you just have to adjust the buttons over them. So you can jump, you can crouch, and you can actually crouch sprint, so that's a quieter sort of method. So how loud you are actually matters in this game. So you see in the bottom left corner that I have a stamina bar. So part of that stamina bar is taken up because of the weighting that I'm holding on my particular character, and you lose more and more of the stamina that you can have based on what you're holding on your character. And you'll notice beside my little crouched icon, you see my little guy, different options there. You'll notice that there's these bars, and that is basically how noisy you are. So noise matters when it comes to the zombies, because the zombies are going to pick up on that and attack you. Zombies aren't like a huge threat, I've always said that. People are basically the biggest threat in this game, but zombies are a little bit deadlier now. So you notice the noise I'm making based on the different positions. You can also go prone, and while you're prone, you can aim in using LT, and then you can tap RB or you can tap LB, and that will allow you to do rolls in case you want to get underneath things, which is really quite helpful. It also can be used to change your perspective. See, now we have a locked kind of perspective there, and I like to have the other shoulder, so there we go. Great. So for combat, some of it is fist to fist, not a lot of it. Melee weapons are particularly deadly right now. See, every update kind of changes things a little bit, so keep that in mind when things change. So when you are fighting, a good method is to actually go into first person, so you can double tap the right stick to go into first person. There's servers that are first person only, but I play third person because I like the perspective. And you're going to want to aim for the head, because the head does a little bit more damage. So while you're fighting, you can aim in to use your fists with LT, and then RT for swinging. And then you can do a hold on Y in order to do like a big swing. And then you can tap RB or LB to do like kind of dodges, keeping in mind that part of that is used for your stamina. So that's something to keep in mind. So inventory, backspace, we got a couple of things. So keep in mind for these two slots here that I have guns in, you can now have like two melee weapons, you can have a gun and a melee weapon, you can have two guns, different options. It's just an extra spot that isn't taking up inventory. It just goes on your back. And it's good to keep in mind that you can hotkey these items in order to get to them quickly. So you hold in the left stick, and then you go to an empty slot, and you press A, and you will have that option there. And then you can hold RB, and you can pick the different options and press A, and your character will pull them out, and you press A again on it in order to put them away quickly. So it's just a hotkey menu in order to quickly access your tools and weapons, which is insanely helpful. So use RB and LB to switch between the different inventory things. Use RT and LT to go up and down between them. When it comes to basically reloading and unloading, so say you get a magazine, you can hold RT to unload it, and then it's unloaded, and then you can hold Y to quick reload it. You can also manually combine it and then load it. So that's another option, which I guess we maybe should show off too, just so people are aware of the different options. So then you take things and you press B combine on the ammo type. You can wave over the particular thing, and then over time it'll say what kind of ammo goes into it, because you got to be careful. Magazines, well, you don't have to be careful, but you need to make sure you know what you need in it. So then we can load that again with that method, and that's also how we craft, which we'll go over in a sec here. So in the game, another big thing to mention is that gloves and boots are important. So your shoes actually wear down over time, and it can cause your feet to bleed, and that could kill you, because cuts are really deadly in the game at this particular point. And that's the same thing with gloves. So if you're sliding down like ladders and stuff, gloves are going to stop you from basically cutting your hands. And also, I believe when you're doing bushes too, because bushes now actually cut you. So a really great option is they've added quick collection for certain things, so you can go to a bush and you can easily craft yourself a weapon. So we're going to show that off here, just going up to a bush and breaking it down. So we partially broke it down, we got a piece of wood. The short stick's kind of good for fire, but we want a long stick because that's what we're going to be able to use for a spear. and as a cooking stick too if you want to cook something on a fire. So we're still getting that. It's kind of like a chance of what you'll get when you are opening things. So it's like basically kind of random to a degree. So we got 3 of those things. That's not great, but we can always go to another one. And I'm hoping that this one puts out right away, which would be nice. So while you're doing tasks holding RT, you can use the right stick in order to look around. That way you can keep yourself using situational awareness, which is important in any game, in order to see if there are zombies or people creeping up on you. There are so many times I've gone to a water fountain, not paid attention, and gotten clubbed in the back. So, yeah, definitely something to keep in mind. 3 short sticks? You've got to be kidding me today. I guess we won't really, well, we could try one more bush. I can talk about other things, but yeah. So on the bottom right corner, you're noticing we got a couple different icons. So on the right hand side, see there's like a divider. The far right is your blood and your health. So your health is important. It goes up and down. You get indication arrows to see where it's going. You can lose a lot of blood and then kind of die. When you have low blood, you lose health, so you got to drink a lot of fluid and water. Well, fluid and food in order to keep that up. It takes a lot longer now to recover. To the side of that is your temperature, which can also affect your health. If there's thunderstorms, which can chill you. If you sit in water, it'll freeze you. And to the side of that is your food and your water. Keep in mind that certain foods expand. If you have rice, the rice will actually build up, so you don't need to eat as much rice as you might think you do, because it will expand. Because it's basically like a liquid capacity, which is kind of odd to say, but it is, you know, that's kind of how it works on your character. So a quick option, you can go to a clothing item and you can press Y to easily switch between it. If something is glitched and not being able to be taken out of something, you can place, say, the bomber jacket in your hands, and then you might be able to either throw the item on the ground holding X or throw it into your inventory tapping X. So that's something cool. So we went over food and water. Both are important. We're going to talk about that a bit more in a sec. To the side of that is a sickness. So if you get sick, you'll have that kind of icon, and you have to remedy that with certain pills. That's the way to handle that particular issue. And there's different kinds of sickness in the game. Like if you eat people, you could go mad, and you know there's a lot of different elements to that. You can also get sick in regards to drinking water and get cholera, and then you will be vomiting, and you'll lose all your food and stuff. So that's a pain in the ass, but part of the way to go. When you're looting, make sure you look around, because tables and chairs and everything will have different items on them, so it doesn't hurt to check things out. Zombies won't come through doors, but people can. You can also lock doors, but now you can break down doors over time. So if it's locked, you can actually break through a door. Cool. So we got ourselves a spear. If you're not happy with where you spawned, you can quick respawn by going into the special menu, miscellaneous, and then suicide, which is not something I suggest. But these menus, again, right on the D-pad, allow you to do things such as like taunts or communicate. So you can use that as an option when trying to talk. If you are trying to talk in-game, it is down on the D-pad. There's no longer a double tap to hold. You have to actually manually hold it down. So that's how you talk in the game. Note that talking in the game, and you'll see the icon in the bottom left there kind of popping up, it can alert zombies, so that's something to keep in mind. Cool. So yeah, we covered quite a lot of things. You can also double tap LB at any point, and that gives you a zoom in so that you can see further along. I find this very helpful when I'm trying to make sure I'm fully seeing what I'm seeing in the background. It's a very helpful item. So again, double tapping LB, very good, and then LT will bring up your stabby thingy. And I kind of wanted to cover crafting, but I don't really have, usually you have bones to craft with. And you can combine things and like disinfect them. So that's a lot of what this is. I'm trying to think of... Yeah, okay. So we have an item, we have a long stick. Usually we'd have like bones from like a chicken or something, or people, whatever, you know. And then you go to something that you can combine it with. So we've got these rags here. So we can tap B, we get the option to combine it. And then we can hold RT, and our guy will go down, and he will begin crafting something, which we're not going to do because I don't want that. But you get the gist of that element of basically combining things, crafting things, and using stuff like that. You can also do things such as like splitting. See that there, we can split the rags, we can combine the rags. So if we've got like 2 rags and 1 rag somehow, we can put the rags together by holding one in our hand and then pressing B on the other rag in the inventory, and that kind of compiles them so you're not taking up inventory space, because your inventory slots are important. Cool. So another important aspect of play is getting food. So sometimes you get canned goods like this, and it's like, oh, what do I do? You'll need to use a sharp object, such as an axe, in order to break it, or if you have a can opener, you can't do that. Keep in mind that using different types of tools or sharp objects will actually determine how much food you get out of your item when you have broken it down. And you'll notice as I'm eating it, there's a bar. Try not to eat everything at once because it will make you sick, especially if you are running around. It's best to kind of do like a brisk walk like this, as opposed to doing something where you are running, because you're going to consume more food and water quicker. There's placement of objects, so we can get sheet metal. I don't know if you can actually place, this is a bad example, but you can use these for building. We're not going to jump into building because that's really more complex and really quite time consuming. So we got the scorpion here, and you notice we have a magazine in it. So we're going to take that out and throw it on the ground, and then we can tap B, or we can go RT, and we can attach it. Nice and easy. Again, the holding Y sort of option is great because you can switch between magazines, so and you don't have to go into your inventory in order to do that. So again, like holding Y, just like we were doing when we were loading bullets into it, is another option for switching your magazines. So say I've got like 3 of these and they're all loaded, I run out of one, switch to another one. Be careful with your shots. You know, you can do like over the shoulder like this, which is good for more of like seeing things, but then it's always good to tap. So basically you can go back like this, you can aim in once, or you can tap in the right stick and you can get into a first person perspective for a more accurate dynamic shot. Take your time, because you know bullets are precious here to a degree, so you want to use them to their full advantage. If you're noticing in the bottom left corner how it says full auto, you can click left on the D-pad and you can switch between semi-auto and full auto depending on the type of gun you have. Depends on what kind of options you can have in that regard. So it's good to have a helmet. Don't wear bright colors because it makes you stick out. I don't care, but you know, keep that in mind. Helmets are helpful. It might save your life from a bullet shot to the back of the head. Gloves, shoes, all important. Don't go anywhere without shoes. Try to get better items that have more slots. So this is like a bigger bag, so it can hold more. Water bottles are good, but they might be deadly to you, so keep that in mind. And it's always good to have a good melee weapon. So I say that as in having something that you can use to cut stuff open with, or something you can use to bludgeon people with. You know, you want to have a good option. So I usually suggest, I like the bat with the nails in it. That's a good option. Just the machete is kind of cool. The basic crowbar is alright if it's something you need. I personally like to keep a shovel on hand. So the shovel is good because you can actually plant a garden with it. So crops are a lot more plentiful. Back in the day, we would suggest going to the beach to get a lot of resources, which is still an option. Sometimes the turned over red boats have food in them, but nowadays the actual garden centers, I'm trying to see if I can come across one. They're not garden centers, but they're little greenhouses that are at the back of buildings, kind of like that over there. They actually have food and seeds in them. So either you can grow food from it, or you can get food right from it, which is really nice. So zombies, not a huge deal. You just gotta be smart about it and how you handle them. They won't be able to get into buildings, so I play a little bit dangerously. I basically like rope zombies into buildings, and then I leave buildings, and I kind of trap zombies in it. It's not something I suggest unless you're really well equipped for the game and you understand it well. Ow. So I'm going to try to maybe get cut. So if you get cut by a zombie, put the rag in your hand, and then you can hold RT, and then you can heal yourself. Well, patch up your wound, stop the bleeding. You can also use a sewing kit. Oh, there we go. This is a greenhouse right here. This is a perfect example of a regular one. You'll find food in, like, you know, the left or right hand side. You see there's seeds there. A lot of zombies today. Vaulting is a newer thing, which is great. So watch that. It does take stamina, but you can vault over either the fences, or you can jump over, well, I guess those are like post fences, but you can actually jump over these things. You can climb stuff. Very helpful. Some buildings you can get onto now, which is kind of nice from that. Another big element of gameplay is knowing where you are. So the areas have maps. You can see, well, they don't have map. Well, some of them do actually have maps, physical maps in the game. But they have road signs, is what I was trying to get at. So you see that road sign there? Let me know what town I'm in. I use, it's called I Survive. There's either an app or a browser. Like you can view it on a internet browser, and you can use that as a guidance to understand where you are going. Crap. So glow sticks, good for visibility at night, because there is a day and night cycle. I guess we're going to show off some zombie combat. Again, kind of aiming for the head is best and most efficient for knocking them down. I found that the grandma zombies seem to actually take the most damage, which is kind of weird. I don't know if that's a real thing, but they definitely seem to be tougher people, that's for sure. So putting that away, again, I hope I've been covering quite a bit of what you can do in the game. There's a lot of really technical aspects to it. I will notice that I've already got a glow stick, so to save a spot or not to hold in your hand, you can actually equip it to some of the backpacks, which is quite helpful, obviously, for seeing. There's like a head torch you can get, which just is literally like a light source on the top of your head. You know, you just wear it on your head. Very helpful for basically seeing at night and not having to deal with them. These things have food and stuff, so they're sometimes worth checking out. Ooh, the cooking pots are so good. So the cooking pots, you can hold stuff in them and you can hold water in them, but be careful because things might get damp because they're sitting in the water that you've put in there. But it's a good source of holding water. You can get water from a number of sources. There are wells places. I don't know if there's a well in this town specifically. I'm trying to think if there's a well in this spot. I'm not sure. But you can, oh, a lockpick. Yes. Love lockpicks so much. So yeah, they're great for holding on to that kind of thing. Oh, battery, nice. So yeah, you can hold water in there. And you get water from wetlands, you can get water from these sort of fountains, you can get water from bottles. So the water is pretty plentiful, you can find it. It's just staying along the coastline until you understand the game better. And then heading inland, because that's where you're going to get like military zones, get better equipment. You also got to really learn your buildings, so... Ooh. Great. Certain buildings have certain things. This is a police station. So this is going to have a particular type of loot that another place won't have. And a lot of this is learning the different... Did it go in here? Yeah, it did. Okay, I don't need it. I want the magazine. So we can pull out my scorpion. Hold Y, and you can see that I am now switching to the mag that has 18 bullets in it, which is really nice. So keep in mind your gun can get jammed at times, and you just kind of reload it, and that'll be good. You can get things like the stab vest, and that will hopefully take a little bit more extra slashes for you. But note that it will basically eat up a bit of your stamina. I think we can actually test that out right now easily. So you notice that my stamina has dropped a little bit, and then I can get rid of it and have a little bit... What? Did I gain for that? No, I think it's just glitching. But yeah, it usually has an effect on your stamina, so just keep that in mind. And also remember that bullets are loud when they're shot. They are noisy. It will attract a lot of attention from zombies and other people. They can be heard quite far away. And it's smart to be careful with them when you are using the shots. Ooh, M-lock. Nice. Good. Something with bullets in it too. Fantastic. So yeah, that's a lot of DayZ, being smart, running around, understanding the world. It's going to take a long time for you to learn all the mechanics of it because there are so many elements. You can swim in the game too. You can jump on top of trees if you're here. I don't know if I could reach that one, but you can jump on top of trees, which is nice. You can climb fences, you can climb rocks, you can move around very easily. It's about being smart, tactical, conserving resources, collecting food, collecting water, attempting not to die because it is permadeath, so you lose everything, but you could maybe go find your body, but there's other people online, so, you know, they could come and kill you too. Wow, BK-13. I think I already have that. I got a blaze, and that uses win rounds. BK-13 is good because it's like a common shotgun, so you're going to get more shells for it. Yeah, I maybe should be taking that one, but I'm not going to. So yeah, I hope that generally helped. I mean, suggest Did somebody open a door? Suggest other tips and tricks for others if you have them. But I think I covered a lot of like the basic and some of the even more technical elements of play. I'm probably forgetting something fairly glaring, but I think I did a pretty good job for management. One minor thing that I can mention is you can hold A on objects, and then you can transfer them to other areas if there's enough slots. So that's a good way for managing where your stuff is held. Doesn't really matter too much, but sometimes your spaces get locked up, so you want to deal with that. And yeah, I think that's about it. Good luck out there surviving. If you have any additional questions, let me know. I'm usually always available. But I covered a lot of the key points in this one. Oh, the zombies chasing me. Ridiculous. Yeah, they go over fences and stuff, which can be pretty hardcore. But I think I got all the important stuff.